Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. Welcome, astrology friends and family. Welcome to August. Eclipse activity starts now, and also we are in the thick of Mercury retrograde shenanigans as my neighbor's mowing his lawn. Maybe I can edit this out later. Anyway, we're just going to go with it. Yeah, so we're dealing with a lot of planets in retrograde. The outer planets are in retrograde. We have Saturn, Pluto, Uranus will start to retrograde in September. Mercury will be retrograding August 4th, and we won't clear shadow period until somewhere near the mid of September. Also, we'll be getting into the Chiron retrograde soon as well, too. Okay, so let's try and have fun while we can. Leo season, the next few weeks are the time to really keep enjoying, especially with everything slowing down. Vacation when and where we can, time spent with children, having fun, theater, outdoor theater, concerts, putting yourself out there, leadership in the community. Don't be afraid to take those chances, put yourself out there. Put your work out there, your creativity. Now's the time with all this goodness in Leo. Love Leo season. I'm an Aquarius rising, so naturally I'm always, loving all things Leo. They're my other end of the spectrum there. Okay, let's get into the eclipses because you will start to be feeling some of this eclipse activity. Now the eclipse will happen in September. But as you may already be aware, the feelings and rumblings of eclipse activity can start happening about a month before, and then it usually kicks off a new 6-month cycle until you have the eclipse in the opposite sign. What we're going to be experiencing is kind of the fading out of the Aries Libra eclipses. The last Libra eclipse will be in September, and the last Aries eclipse will be next March 2025. So we still have, several months to work on those themes of that axis if things haven't been accomplished yet in those areas. We also have Chiron still in Aries as well. Okay, so on September 17th, 2024, we're going to have a full moon partial lunar eclipse in Pisces at, let me check, 25 degrees. And this will be affecting those born with Pisces or Virgo placements anywhere from 21 to 29 degrees and 0 to 1 degrees of the cardinal signs, which are Cancer, Capricorn, mom and dad, Aries the warrior, and Libra the lover. All right, the eclipse will start to highlight all the things that are Pisces, Virgo, prior to the nodes shifting into those signs by next spring. We will have the nodes of fate and one last set of eclipses wrapping up, like I mentioned, on the Aries, Libra axis for the next 6 months. Okay, so knowing that, this activity can be felt now, I just kind of wanted to talk about that, especially with everything, so many planets being retrograde. Yeah, okay, so in the Pisces area of our charts is where we are going to see some of this activity. After having so much Aries self-directed energy over the past year, pushing us to take initiative and propelling us forward in that Aries part of our sky, and also healing a wound since Chiron has been there. We could have started to be aware of that and started working on that in the past year or so. And like I said, if you haven't done so yet or initiated something of great importance to you yet, don't worry. There are still several months left of this Aries Libra story, especially with Chiron and then also, the nodes of fate and the eclipses happening there as well. So what does this mean? So we will now be taking in and further integrating, the healing process, especially with Pisces and Neptune coming into the picture, forcing us to kind of slow down and integrate those changes that have been coming in internally or externally, slowly or rapidly over the past year. Rahu, the North Node, can speed things up. If you started your own business, for example, that would be like a very self-initiated Aries type of thing. Now and in the next year and a half, you could be developing like a sacred space in your home or devoting a special space to work in that, you can paint and decorate, plants, Doesn't have to be just for business either. It could be a sacred space you use just as your own, like getaway, quiet time to meditate, rest, writing, creativity, listen to music, to I don't care if you just go there to daydream. It will be a really great thing to do. All right. And now, although with Saturn here in Pisces until 2026, he's structuring those dreams to help you make them come true. So, any kind of like blockages you feel that you may come up against with Saturn there in Pisces, it's only to slow you down to make sure that the things that you're putting into place are solid and stable and can withstand the test of time. That's what Saturn likes anyway. The other end of this axis is Virgo, and Virgo will help you. Virgo will help you organize yourself to make those Pisces creative dreams come true. You can pull your projects out of the ethers and put them onto paper, to film, to clay, to actual music, to whatever it is that is your creative inspiration or muse. Lunar eclipses also can be a very emotional time. They can trigger relationship endings or breakthroughs, and even good breakthroughs can be emotional. I feel at this time and over the next year and a half, we can really find our way through that Aries wound that we've had, or maybe we didn't even realize that we had it. For example, like maybe Chiron in Aries has been transiting through your second house of self-worth and your face and your earnings, your bank account, what you put into your mouth, and maybe you realize you didn't know that you had a bad habit relating to food, and it's kind of come up to be looked at over the past year or so. Maybe you have an allergy that you found out you had and you didn't know it based on what you were eating, and now you have this time to kind of start integrating those changes. Pisces is very healing, heal your body or whatever might have ailed you. So we could really maybe start to make progress in standing up for ourselves as well. Aries is a warrior. Is not afraid of standing up for himself, herself. We can also have been learning how to not be codependent, and maybe we're starting to make our own money instead of depending on another. Maybe we're healing long-standing relationship issues or issues about self-worth, your body, your identity. These types of healing changes can be very emotional and even in a good way. And if you haven't, like I mentioned, seen these changes yet, not to worry. We still have several months left with the nodes of fate, Chiron, and the eclipses here to help you quickly make changes for the better in the Aries Libra part of your sky. Kind of grand finale next March 2025. This Pisces eclipse is the first in the cycle, and it's possibly just highlighting or giving that first little nudge of awareness or discontent around emotions, spirituality, relationships, as full moons and lunar eclipses can relate to relationships, your home, your family, motherhood, mothering, as the moon rules Cancer. And anytime you have lunar eclipses, you always kind of look to the Cancer part of your sky and see how that area is being triggered at that time as well. Crisis can happen as we are made aware of imbalances in these areas as well. Some relationships can end for new ones to begin if there's been trouble in those areas. And on the other side, if there have been problems that are being brought to light at the time of this full moon, there may be a path forward to find some healing, and maybe you can grow and progress together if that is something that you're in a relationship and you would want to work on. There can also be fulfillment of creative projects or drama at the time of the full moon, especially with it being the first in this new eclipse cycle. You can also get sudden dreams, downloads, or inspirations about creative projects, music, acting, film, etc. How to help maybe marginalized people's issues with the ocean, or maybe you want to start a nonprofit or become part of a nonprofit that helps ocean animals or comes up with fishing net solutions or oil spills. And really interesting note on that, just to kind of show you how the stuff is already starting to come into play, is I went to go get my hair trimmed the other day, and what I found out was kind of cool is that they charge an extra $2, a $2 fee when you're getting your hair, cut colored, whatever. And what they do is they use the clippings from the salon to make these hair mats that then are used to soak up oil spills in the ocean. And they're really effective at it as well. They just kind of, and there's a video you can watch online where you can see that, there's the oil spill, which is horrible. And they put these like hair mats in and it just kind of sucks it up. So already we're going to start seeing these types of things come to the forefront, which I'm really excited about because who doesn't love the ocean, right? Know that if you do come up with or receive, inspiration downloads that you should act on them, not at the time of the full moon, but act on them as in like writing them down. Keep a pen or your tablet or whatever it is you use to write on at the ready starting now. Know that these will be divinely guided, divine downloads. I don't think there'll be anything coincidental about this. Also, with this being the Pisces Virgo axis, and Virgo rules health and organization and service, work, pets, we could have health challenges that might come up to the surface at this time to be healed, or we could have endings to jobs that no longer serve our well-being, with new paths being illuminated to more fulfilling work, or spiritual paths might come through. Maybe you find a need in your community and you decide, you know what, I'm done with administrative work and I want to create my own or nonprofit or become a founder of my own nonprofit and helping children in my community who suffer from, not having enough to eat or clothing or school supplies. And you can start a small movement there, and that would be a really beautiful thing to do. So just an idea. Okay. Also, what are some other things that can happen? This is also the other end, because we're talking about the 6th house and the 12th house axis. 6th house also represents small pets, and that's in the Virgo house. A pet can have issues or pass at this time if they've been struggling with health issues, but also a new one can come in. New fated pet, and fears and addictions can come up at this time as well. 12th house does represent addictions, and we can find ways to heal our mind, especially with Virgo at the opposite end. We can look for and find a great and destined healer at this time. The Virgo axis can also help you get organized and clean up that area of your life if you are suffering from addictions or bad health habits, and get yourself pulled together, especially if you were in your head too much, or also if you've been unable to pull your dreams, out of the ethers or from your Neptune haze, those ideas and dreams can get lost up there. And Virgo is really good at solidifying things and making it happen. Excuse me. Let's see. Sometimes Virgo does strive for perfection and it can hamper our creativity. So we'll be working on trying to strike that balance, right, of the creativity and the day-to-day work, and trying to balance the two. At this time, you can, and especially now, right in August, we can start meditating. Anything with like water therapy would be good. Prayer, if you pray, and it doesn't have to be religion, it could be whatever God you pray to. Epsom salts, you could clean up your auric field leading up to this full moon. I always suggest safest bet is nature, rest, sleep. I always try to aim for like 7 or 8 hours, and it's almost always a win, especially preparing for those jitters that you can start to get during eclipse activation periods. Having magnesium to root yourself down a little bit and to kind of root down and anchor your nervous system. Magnesium-rich foods like black beans and sweet potato and stuff like that. But always check with your doctor or your dietitian if you have any kind of health issues or if you're unsure if you can eat those types of things. You can also make, little simple changes to your diet, like more water, fresh fruits, chemical-free food, vegetables. Try to do like a no alcohol. I know that might be hard for some, in these last beautiful weeks of summer that we'll be having. It's hard at barbecue or hanging out at the beach with friends, but maybe you can make a mocktail, something like that. Start working on a creative project. That's another great way to use this energy. Jot down those major insights that can happen now. And this is also a really kind of interesting period where loved ones who have crossed over may start to appear or send messages to you in odd ways as the veil begins to thin. These are just some of the ideas that I'm giving you, and I will describe what the beginning of this new cycle means for each of you in all of the 12 signs, and I will also probably talk more in depth about it the closer we get to the eclipse and, as we proceed with this, the shifts of the nodes and everything else. So, yeah, all right, well, let's get started.
Hello, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. The eclipse in September will happen in your first house for the late degree Pisces, anywhere from 20 degrees and up, affecting your first house, which is your body, your overall life direction, your health, how you present out in the world. The sun is your vitality, career, father figure. And the moon is mother, your emotional landscape, your etheric body, where you live, home, and family. This can be a new cycle for you, but some first things could be revealed at the time of the full moon partial lunar eclipse in September, revealing where exactly those changes might need to start happening. Maybe something emotional comes up at this time around these areas. Maybe you realize you need to take better care of your body due to a health issue that comes up at this time, or after a period of solitude. Hospital and rest can be in order, as you, Pisces, rules the 12th house of hospitals, rest, and recuperation. And this can start to kick off a new way of taking care of your body, mind. You can get into things like yoga, meditation, a new spiritual practice, even astrology, presenting a new, healthier, vital version of yourself that will start to unfold over the next, year and a half to 2 years. Virgo is the other end of this axis in your partnership zone, the 7th house. You could also be trying to strike a balance, or things can come up at the time of this full moon partial lunar eclipse that highlights where you need to take more care of yourself. 7th house is serious, committed partner in love or marriage or possibly business. They could be the ones in focus as well, as maybe you need to address issues or matters that may come up with this me-we axis. And that will continue to be the focus for the next 1.5 to 2 years. Also, one relationship can end if there's been some problems there, or you can start to get help to heal it if it's something that you want to repair and work on. And if you're trying and it still just isn't working, know that when eclipses close doors, they do so for good, and they're not meant to be reopened. This could make space, though, for a new, faded, and even past life love to enter, or possibly they may enter even if you are already in partnership. Know that whatever comes in or leaves your life over the next 2 years, and I say 2 years here because the nodes will shift out of Aries and Libra into Pisces and Virgo starting next spring. And this will start a whole new nodal story with you in highlight as the focus, as well as another, further adding to the story. If you're not concerned about another right now, you just may be focusing on yourself, and you could be moving or becoming a completely different version of yourself, by the time the eclipses and the nodes move on to Aquarius. Your title can change to Mrs. or Mr., or maybe you were a 9-to-5er at some humdrum mundane job, and now you're an entrepreneur, or you will become one. You can leave old, worn-out jobs behind to reflect a newer version of yourself, or follow a more spiritual path or empathetic work, or start to incorporate these things in your day-to-day life somehow. For example, that might be like creating a space in your home to reflect, write, and meditate, all the while maintaining a balance between your independence out in the world, because you will definitely want it. Even if you were codependent before, you may no longer be that way by the time the eclipse stories start to come in and the nodes finish up in your first house. And like I mentioned before, it will happen over the next 1.5 to 2 years. You could have started a business with the nodes currently in Aries, which is your second house of money, land, property, self-worth, bank accounts. And you could start to be seeing results by the time of this eclipse, maybe healing a chiron wound around self-esteem or self-worth as well. That Aries Libra axis is highlighted until next March before everything fully shifts into your sign, indicating a flow from becoming more self-sufficient and earning more and moving away from depending on another to stepping into visibility in the world as a more empowered version of yourself, and possibly finding a love partner who recognizes this and strikes that balance with you, resulting in healthier partnerships that may come in for you or that you will now look for. In simpler terms, you could have been working on your finances since last July and even gotten or will get, as the second house is highlighted, until next March, possibly like cosmetic surgery to enhance your looks or your mouth and teeth. And in turn, this will present a new you in the coming year and a half to 2 years. Also, since Neptune is your ruler and will conjunct this eclipse and then move on to Aries, the second house, next year, this could be creative projects that you might want to start getting into, like related to film, the oceans, or fantasy, and could end up yielding big money or contracts for you. On August 4th, Mercury will start to retrograde in your 7th house of Virgo until August 27th, and will head back down to your Leo 6th house of health mid-August, highlighting the health work axis again. The new moon in Leo in the 6th house will happen on this date as well at 12 degrees, affecting placements from 7 degrees to 17 degrees in Leo or Aquarius. Also, if your rising sign is within those degrees, this moon is trining the North Node, and then will later trine Chiron as the moon progresses that day through the moon degrees. In your second house, and sextiled by Mars in Gemini and Jupiter in Gemini in your 4th house. This could be something like new beginnings in health and daily routines, work and diet that are going to bring you into alignment with the way that you earn money, or some dietary changes you're making, especially focused on what you drink and eat, what you put into your mouth, maybe cooking healthier foods at home or growing them with Mars in the 4th house. Maybe you've started a garden, and it's, possibly helping you look better, feel healthier, and this I always think what you eat is definitely a direct reflection of how you feel mentally. You will make these changes within the next 6 months if you haven't already, and you'll start to see results at the Leo full moon in January. Also, with Jupiter in the 4th house until next June, your work and money houses are lit up at this time, and the 2nd and the 6th. You could move or have moved to a more expansive place and be dedicating a space to a home office and starting a new career working from home, or money-making venture working from home. Also feeding into that first house storyline of changing, where you are in the world, what you do for work, that Eclipse series that starts up in September. And this will change everything about yourself, and also focusing on your well-being in the first house instead of sacrificing for another, as Pisces are very prone to self-sacrifice. On August 5th, Venus moves into the 7th Virgo house, joining Mercury there in a conjunction at 3 degrees on August 7th. But it can start to be felt from here, August 5th through August 10th, affecting you with degrees from 0 to 8 degrees of Virgo, or if you're a Sun, Moon, or Pisces rising within those degrees as well. You could have a love story, money messages coming through, a glow-up or meeting of a significant life partner can happen. Contracts in business or love can happen as well, as Venus represents money. Just don't sign anything with Mercury retrograde until September 12th, I believe, where Mercury will clear his shadow. The 7th house is also a public house as well, and you could be getting more noticed, you're more visible, and this will be in a really beautiful light. Alternatively, you could be discussing things or resolving issues with the partner if there's been problems. You could also be doing well in business and with business partners. Just again, Mercury is retrograde, so make sure the communications coming up now are clear. It's very important at this time, and definitely don't sign anything. If it is an old contract coming back up for review, just have a second pair of eyes on it before you sign anything. On August 19th, the full moon in Aquarius at 27 degrees will be in your 12th house, affecting Sun, Moon, or Pisces risings from 22 degrees and up. The 12th house is your natural house and rules over liberation, dissolution. It's a moksha house, foreign money, foreign shores, hospitals, ashrams. This house is where we do dream work, psychic work, where we can also restore karma through service and charity. This house preps you to enter the first house. It's like a birthing process. And you could have something significant come to fruition around these topics now, like completing world travel or a faraway trip overseas. You could be completing and clearing away old trauma or self-inducing behaviors. I don't know, a quick example might be too much binge watching on Netflix or some kind of addiction. And it's receiving, this full moon is receiving hard outer planet aspects, including from your ruler Neptune. So what comes up now may not be the full picture, may not be fully clear. Just keep that in mind. But do know that, even though full moons can be a very emotional time, they do pass quickly and solutions will come to light once some of this fog clears. On August 22nd, the sun moves into your 7th house of Virgo until September 22nd, further adding to this partner public house for the next several weeks, lighting these areas up. On August 27th, Uranus and Taurus in your 3rd house trines Venus and Virgo in your 7th at 27 degrees, giving, and this sextiles you, Uranus and Taurus does, and Virgo is your opposite house, the 7th house, giving possibly like sudden shocking love messages can come through the internet, online somehow, cell phone, email, social media. You may suddenly find a love through the internet or through these venues or online. You could also receive news, be on the receiving end of news or business contracts, as the 3rd house rules small business, writing and marketing. Maybe you're pairing up with the perfect business partner who comes on the scene suddenly. Or there could be sudden breakthroughs in the mind and healing a serious love relationship as well, and communicating about these topics, as both the 3rd and the 7th house are relationship houses. Overall, this is a beautiful aspect and beautiful way to end the month. Take care, Pisces, and we'll see you in September.